I used to be very socially awkward. From struggling to talk to girls to getting this huge sense of anxiety when I'm in a group situation. Meeting new people was never natural to me. I would always get remarks, "You're so quiet," or "Oh, he's the quiet one. Oh my god, I am quiet. I should say something." Anything. A lot of my interactions went this way. I was too caught up in my own internal dialogue that I felt like a passive observer as to what was going on around me. As a naturally introverted person, it didn't help that I found social situations draining. I wondered why I didn't enjoy this as much as other people did. Now, being an introvert doesn't necessarily mean being shy. I still consider myself an introvert. But I'm now able to easily introduce myself to people or speak in front of a crowd, which is something I would have never been able to do before. Everybody has the capability to do this, and in this video I'm going to share 3 things that really helped me break out of my shell and become more confident. Number 1 is understanding the spotlight effect. When we are little babies and children, we are extremely egocentric. Egocentricity is regarding yourself as the centre of all things, and not having a perception of other people as their own thinking and feeling beings. We grow out of this to an extent, but we are still in many ways egocentric. When you see a group photograph, whose photo do you look for first? Naturally, we are concerned with ourselves way more than other people. It's because of this that we often overestimate the degree to which we are observed and noticed by others, as well as how much others care about these things. This could cause someone to think that everyone is going to notice a small stain on his shirt, when in reality, hardly anyone will. One time in high school, I was allowed to leave the class early. It was the sports hall and there were big double doors. But when I got there, I couldn't open them. I must have been there for 30 seconds just trying to open this door, and everyone was watching. I was so embarrassed. A few weeks later in sports class, we were talking about embarrassing moments. I mentioned the door incident, but nobody even remembered it. And here I was thinking about this over and over again when no one cared. And one of the most freeing ideas that I think you can ever have is the knowledge that people are too concerned with themselves to really care about that time you made a fool of yourself. Ask a girl out and get rejected? She'll move on with her life, and so will you. It's not so much about not giving a fuck, as it is about realising that no one really has that many fucks to give. Number 2 is about practicing anxiety-inducing situations. I used to feel really anxious talking in groups of people. I'd often keep quiet, or when I did talk, I'd frantically spit my words out so fast to avoid holding people's attentions for too long. This was something I really wanted to fix. So at university, I went up to talk to some people that I'd never spoken to before. My heart was pounding, but that didn't last that long. Most of the time people are just happy that someone else made the first move. After university, I took a teaching role. This was the most terrifying of them all. I remember sitting in a classroom before the students arrived thinking, why am I doing this? And it was terrifying for a bit, but then it just became something I did. So think of social situations that would give you anxiety. Participate in small talk with strangers, or work up the nerve to introduce yourself or even ask someone out. The more you avoid them, the more your anxiety will fester. Having hobbies and doing activities with other people is really good for this, because you'll be learning a new skill as well as meeting like-minded people. Try to live slightly outside of your comfort zone every day. As cliche as it is, practice does make perfect. Number 3 is letting go of perfectionism. The truth is that we do have an intrinsic fear of looking bad in front of people. Our brain has developed that way through millions of years of evolution, but most of that was in a time where looking weak could mean some other guy comes over and takes your fruit, and exclusion from a group meant certain death. We don't really have to worry about that today. When I started to overcome my social anxiety, I found that I was speaking my mind without thinking first. This might sound against all advice you'll ever hear, but it really worked. I realised that it didn't really matter if you said something awkward, as long as you said it with confidence. Let's look at this hypothetical situation. At some party in an alternate reality, skinny jeans are in fashion, and everybody is wearing skinny jeans. But one guy, let's call him Toby, turns up to the party in flares, and his friends say, "Dude, what are you wearing? You look silly." The embarrassing moment has happened, but that's not important. What's important is Toby's reaction to it. If he was to say, "Oh no, I'm gonna look stupid," then it becomes a big deal. But if instead he was to say, "Oh, I don't really care, flares rock, everyone else is weird," do you see what difference having confidence makes? Being upfront with your vulnerabilities, flaws and mistakes is admirable in itself. Being vulnerable requires a willingness to let others see the real you. Being genuine is often the quality that others will appreciate the most about you. Think about this. If you moderate what you say or do to come across as better to someone else, then you are valuing another person's perception of you more than you value your own identity, and that is no way to live. And there are the three main things that helped me change social situations into something I no longer dread. So to recap, recognize the spotlight effect. Most of the time, people don't care or remember that stupid thing you did. Practice anxiety-inducing situations, and the best way to be more confident in front of people is to put yourself in uncomfortable situations. Over time, you'll realise that the fears you built up in your head were just holding you back. Let go of your perfectionism. Speak what comes to mind. You're going to make mistakes and look stupid sometimes. That doesn't matter. What matters is how you react to it. And that's the end of this video. If you enjoy this content and want more of it, remember to like and subscribe, because that would really go a long way in encouraging me to do more of these. If you didn't like it, go ahead and hit that dislike button. This is something I want to keep doing and keep improving at, so any feedback is welcome. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time for more ideas in motion.